cares about me.
What about me?
What about you what?
What about if you went out with me?
Are you asking me out?
Yes, I am.
Lance Barber played two different characters in the Big Bang Theory universe, and young Sheldon made it so worthwhile. The Big Bang Theory franchise used Lance Barber in two separate roles, and it was worth it. Barber is best known as George Sr., Sheldon's well-meaning father, who didn't understand his genius son and longed for a boy he could pass his love of football on to. George's death in the young Sheldon penultimate episode was the catalyst for the events of the series wrap-up. While Lance Barber visited the set of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, there is no indication that he is playing a resurrected George or any other character in the newest show of the franchise. However, he appeared in The Big Bang Theory as a different character, Jimmy Speckerman, the grown-up version of the boy who had bullied Leonard mercilessly in high school. This role is very different from that of George Sr., and it is interesting to revisit Sheldon's interaction with Jimmy after seeing Barber play Sheldon's father for 7 years in the prequel. Why did Lance Barber play different characters in TBBT and Young Sheldon? There were not yet plans for Young Sheldon's creation when Lance Barber appeared in The Big Bang Theory Season 5, Episode 11, which aired in 2011, 6 years before Young Sheldon premiered. Barber was chosen for the role of Jimmy Speckerman because the producers thought he was the best actor for the role, and they were not thinking about who else he might play in its universe, especially since work for Young Sheldon was still far on the horizon. Although the producers didn't plan for Barber to play two different roles in the franchise, his guest appearance in The Big Bang Theory likely helped him to land the role of George Sr. since he had already been involved in The Big Bang Theory franchise to a small degree. The producers were familiar with him and his work, which gave him an edge over other actors who were not as well known to the casting team. Lance Barber's George Sr. made any confusion more than justified. Lance Barber's role in The Big Bang Theory was relatively minor. He only appeared in one episode over half a decade before Young Sheldon premiered. Thus, by the time he was cast as George Sr., most of the audience was unlikely to remember that he had played Jimmy Speckerman in the nerd-centric sitcom. Furthermore, George Sr. was an integral part of Young Sheldon, and Barber made the role memorable. Thus, even if Barber was recognizable as having once guest starred on the original show in the Big Bang Theory franchise, his portrayal of George Sr. made it worth it. The series would not have been the same without Barber's portrayal of him, and he made George Sr. so lovable that his untimely death led to a heartbreaking series finale for Young Sheldon. After Georgie and Mandy, this Big Bang Theory character would be perfect for a spin-off. Ever since the first season wrapped, it was already apparent that The Big Bang Theory was destined to become a hit show and a new TV franchise. In the years since, it's accomplished just that, quickly growing to become one of the most celebrated sitcoms of all time and spawning a franchise that now has 2 spin-off shows and more on the horizon. However, while the Young Sheldon spin-off made perfect sense, as Jim Parsons' brilliant portrayal of Sheldon Cooper made him the most popular character, some Big Bang Theory purists probably view Georgie and Mandy's first marriage as a Young Sheldon spin-off rather than a pure Big Bang Theory one. The fact that other possible upcoming spin-off shows appear set to include secondary characters like Stewart has left some fans yearning for more. While characters like Stewart are popular and would likely make for a great addition to the franchise, most fans want to see new shows that include the core characters in some way. While they don't necessarily have to be the same character arcs continued from the original show, even prequel shows would be welcome so long as fans get to see and learn more about their favorite characters. If you're a massive Big Bang Theory fan who agrees with these sentiments, here are a few reasons why Rajesh Kuthrapali would actually be the ideal character for a new spin-off show. Raj's heritage and the cultural angles it provides. Raj's Indian heritage and culture often provided plenty of angles for some of the funniest moments of the original show. The writers often hilariously played off Raj's Indian culture, though what made it even more amusing was that it was usually Raj himself who often poked fun at his own heritage and some of its more complex underpinnings and rules. For example, as a Hindu, Raj was forbidden from eating beef, while some Hindu sects require followers to observe vegetarianism. Cows are also sacred to his belief system, meaning there is more than one significant reason why these rules ought to be observed religiously by Raj. Yet, in the US, providing some of his most unforgettable moments as the character, Raj finds himself hilariously loving hamburgers and other meat dishes. This is evident in the episode titled The Pirate Solution, where Raj believes he is facing deportation. As he sees Sheldon eating a beef-based pasta dish, his hilarious line underscores the comical contrast between his culture and how blatantly he ignores it in the US. In other scenes, Raj often has to deal with his sister Priya and their fighting, and his parents and their expectations regarding their Hindu culture. Whether it's moments like them trying to arrange his marriage or how he has to hide it from them when dating other women, Raj's cultural identity and his antics in America often provide the ideal recipe for comedy gold in the show. On the other hand, while Raj isn't usually that serious about religion himself, as he is prone to making fun of his own culture or ignoring its rules when it suits him, he's also just as willing to lean on it when it does suit him. He often speaks proudly of his life back in India, though this was largely to boast about how wealthy his family is. On other occasions, he's been known to leverage his accent and tout himself as an exotic catch when pursuing American women. These angles show just how much scope there would be for hilarity if Raj ever had his own show. Raj's quest for love in The Big Bang Theory is always entertaining. One of the most pivotal areas of Raj's time in The Big Bang Theory delved into his foibles when it comes to finding love. His character arc also traverses a pretty expansive journey, seeing as he started with selective mutism and was unable to even speak if there was a woman in the room. Fast forward a few seasons, and Raj's growth as a character sees him having a one-night fling with Penny and later even being torn between two women. In some ways, it was often Raj's bungling attempts at love that made him so relatable. It was easy to see ourselves in him. Whether it was his sometimes awkward, sometimes ultra-confident antics, his inner darkness that was ultimately always conquered by his good nature, or just the way he cared about those he loved most, Raj was an everyday character and someone that anyone could feel comfortable with. According to the brilliant and very funny Kunal Nair, who played him, even his mutism, which seemed so far-fetched at times, was actually based on a real person. Nair revealed this many years ago when he answered fan questions for a piece by Page 6. When asked if Raj's mutism was a real thing, here's how he responded. It is a recognized disease called selective mutism. The character is based on a free